Hello and welcome to JagaVision episode 60. I'm Jared Nyberg. I'm your host. We are on our 60th week, which is pretty sweet. We're going to be joined today, very excited, by one of the owners of Maccha over in Czech. I know Jakub from when he was spending some time here in Canada, and we really connected over tea when he was working with my friend, our friends over at O5. So he's doing his own project. That's going to be great. We'll also be joined by Sherri Anne from Sister Speak. She'll be joining a little bit later in the broadcast. She's just wrapping up her show. She does a live stream before us where she performs for her music project, Sister Speak. You want to go and check that out every Thursday at 12. You can check out next episodes, archived episodes, etc. YouTube.com/JagaSilk. And if you're a subscriber, awesome. You'll get notifications if you click the notification bell. So I actually have my guest here right now, ready to go live while I was kind of figuring stuff out in the background. Jakub, you're there? Jakub?
I'm there.
You're there. Okay, awesome. All right, so welcome to JagaVision, Jakub. Thanks for your patience as we got everything going. It was quite an interesting moment. I couldn't stream anywhere, and there seemed to be some sort of issue with my broadcast software's connection with the everything. But anyway, the world didn't explode, and here we are. So, but you're joining us live from Prague.
Thanks for having me. Yes, indeed, I'm in Prague, and
thank you for coming on.
for the opportunity. And just one reminder, one technical note that Jared forgot to mention. If I suddenly go offline, it's just a small technical issue, and I'll be right back within 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And who knows? It might not happen at all. We should be. We can keep our fingers crossed. Okay, and I sent you some Tencha and some Maccha in the mail. It got you. It got to you in 3 days, which is kind of incredible. I couldn't believe it.
Totally.
It's stuff that we milled here, which I'm really excited about. So we'll be drinking that for the first time. Before we go down that road, just wanted to, I was just curious if you could tell everybody a little bit about what you're doing right now. What is do I say me tea? Is that
Indeed.
And it's like, I guess it's combining the words meat and tea, like to meet and
okay,
and maybe tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you. The founder of this project is actually a good tea friend of mine, Thomas. He's not here at the moment.
Okay.
Anyways, we've been friends for many, many years, and also through tea. And we had always been trying or dreaming of like joining forces and doing this together. Somehow, I had been helping him in the past, like without any financial motive, just because we like each other, we understand each other, and we share our way of tea, basically, or our energies, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
We are completely different from each other. So after I came back from Canada, after I returned from Canada, it took a little bit of time, but we somehow started doing all this together.
Mm-hmm.
So Maccha actually consists of several small projects and several small tea-related thingies.
Okay.
To support each other. First of all, we have this studio downtown Prague. It's basically tea house, tea shop, but at the same time, and at the very beginning, it was created as the purpose of this space was to meet, share, and taste together, and share tea moments and tea knowledge with like-minded tea guys, tea geeks.
Nice.
So,
okay.
Then it swapped to like regular business, open Monday till Friday. I can show you around if you like.
Yeah, let's see. What's it look like?
Well, I'm hoping that you're gonna be able to see it.
Okay.
So it's really tiny space.
Okay.
Basically, this is our tea table, and this is the shopping part.
Oh, very
You can
fancy.
see you can see the entry to the secret place down there.
Okay, that goes
We
to
really do use
another universe.
It's quite amusing for many customers, but it's true. It goes to the second place to the second room, which is basically like our storage office and whatnot.
Yeah,
and the whole space looks like this. We have just one massive communal table.
Amazing. Yeah,
and
that's cool.
Tatamis on the box and on the wheels, and this is where we share all the teas. And we have really beautiful backyard, but you wouldn't be able to see it because it's 10:30 p.m. and it's quite dark. But we have this beautiful backyard that's available to our customers.
Ooh, and it's night. What time is it in Prague right now?
10:30.
10:30 at night. Okay. Very cool. You know, we had guests on a couple times now from other countries. One of them was India, and 1 p.m. here was 1:30 a.m. there. And the first time that they were going to come on, they completely forgot. And I was sitting there going, and I kind of, but they came on the next week, and it was great. We had a really good time. And they were also, I don't know if you knew this, but we did, I'm co-director of the International Tea Appreciation Society, and you should totally join. It's like super anarchistic. There's no like, it's just, I like tea. Hey, you could pay for a t-shirt if you want. It just goes to the cause, which is to just put on a tea festival every year. We took donations and flew a farmer to Victoria to have a talk in Victoria. It's all just people who love tea, just hanging out and having a good time. Anyway, we did this year, or last year, I guess, because of the coronavirus, we couldn't do the in-person one. So one of the things we do is a tea symposium. And so we decided to just do the tea symposium. And me and the other director, with the help of all these amazing volunteers, did a 24-hour live stream. and I hosted it with him the whole time. So his idea was like, you not only get to watch us have tea, you get to watch us slowly fall apart. and we had a really good time. I had like easily 30 cups of tea in a 24-hour period. And I say cups of tea, but you know what I mean, like multiple infusions from each cup kind of thing, right? And it was pretty wild. But one of the things that happened is that same family, the Lochans, who own the Doak estate in Bihar, India, they actually were live at that time in the middle of the night here, so it was in the afternoon there, and we got to reverse roles, and they showed us live the tea being rolled and like the farm, and it was just really cool to see this live action from India. It was pretty sweet. So anyway, there's my my tangent, but yeah, I'm so excited when we have these live, I don't know, interactions on the other side of the ocean. It's just, there's something really special.
Likewise, I'm so glad to see you as well.
Yeah.
And
how long has it been? Like 4 years or something? Longer?
4 years, almost exactly 4 years.
And I remember you being pretty stoked about kombucha and tea, and we were talking a lot of philosophy. I remember having a really good chats with you and Pedro, and just yeah, I think we talked till like 3 or 4 in the morning or something crazy. Before you came to the tea festival that time, right? Like you were at the yeah. So that's continuing. That's every year. So, and that's
and then you treated me beautifully, like few days before my final departure there in Victoria, and I'm ever grateful.
No worries, man. Yeah, it was tons of fun. It was tons of fun. I'm just gonna quickly see if I can't get Sister Speak to join us. Sometimes she gets also there's issues with the technical side of things, where internet's not working, what have you. So I'm just gonna try one more time, see if we can't make it happen, and then while we're waiting for her, though, I think we can totally go into, why don't we drink some tea and talk about this a little bit, and let's keep talking about me tea. And so you were, just to summarize it back, you are you've combined a bunch of projects. You mentioned Tea Room. I think to remember something about like a not a curating, what's it called when you like supply events with your teas and stuff.
Catering.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My English,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. So you do catering. You do a tea studio. I guess from earlier before we went live, you're telling me that you also do some wholesale and stuff too. And is that there's more projects than this, or are those the three main ones?
And the last main one would be our tea subscription. That's an ongoing project that's been on for 8 years already.
Wow, that's
And basically monthly we send out boxes to the subscribers. In each box, I can even show you this month's box.
Sweet.
Basically in each box, the box contains 3 different teas.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
There's one more down there.
Okay.
And in the box, there's also a booklet that always covers those 3 teas being shipped.
Very nice. Full on.
It's educational. So far, it's only in the Czech language, but the booklet tells you the story of all those teas. I mean, those like romantic stories, but also the true and factic stories. We try to look up as much information and dig out as much information as we can about the cultivars, about the place, about the farmers.
Nice. Yeah.
And we also try to introduce people or get them the idea what should they expect, and also how should they approach the teas.
You know, we need to do a part 2 of JagaVision with Jakub, and you need to send me one of those, and we need to talk about it and drink it together, and we need to do this in like late July or August. Like, let's do it before we forget about it. I think that would be really, really cool. If you can make time for it, I can make time for it, and we can talk a little bit.
Down and I'd love that.
That would be really fun, you know.
I
And
will try to translate it to English so you can.
Sweet,
you can
yeah.
get it as well.
Sweet. Okay, I'm into it. So, you know, I love the conversation. Like, I love, you know, a shared sort of appreciation for craftsmanship, tea farmers that are really careful, understanding that the year and the environment, the terroir, everything plays a role in ever-changing flavors. I feel like every season, the same tea is going to change. I feel like we connect there for sure. Now, I was reading some literature about, I think it was in the art and craft of tea, I think it's called. And it was just, or was it the Camellia Sinensis tea book? They were just talking about the Czech Republic and how during the Iron Curtain era, there was a problem with Czech getting coffee. And so there was this whole movement towards specialty tea because of the relationship between the USSR and China. They were able to like develop these really deep relationships. And so you can actually find tea houses in Czech that are like super hardcore, and they're not part of this new sort of like third wave tea movement. This is like 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, these relationships. And is there like, have you experienced any of these places? Does this background your interest in tea at all? Like, how is this real? Is that real? Is that story true? Could you talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's totally real. You might even remember me talking about it back then.
Right.
Well, it's a phenomenon which I cannot really explain. I'm just guessing why has that happened. But Czech Republic is indeed a tea capital outside of Asia.
Right.
And just in Prague itself, it's 1.2, 1.3 million city, our capital, the biggest city. And just in Prague itself, there's like 50, 60 tea houses, tea shops, and tea places.
Wow. Yeah.
Of different types. Some are more hip, some are more shanty, some are super orthodox, some are really cool and like designer places.
So obviously, if anybody watching goes to Prague, they need to go to Maccha. But if you were gonna do a shout out to another place that they might want to check out as well, where would you recommend they go if they want to do like a tea crawl when they're in Prague? They go to Maccha, start there. Where do they go?
I'm gonna mention our competitors that I do like even personally and that I do deeply respect
Oh,
for what they've been doing and importing.
sure.
And that's definitely a shop or business called T Mountain.
T Mountain. Okay, that's cool.
Look it out. Check it out. Check the pictures on Google. It's super nice space, and all their teas are stellar,
Cool.
and
Just need
no
to go check it out.
compromise.
That's good. Well, I do you really believe there are no compromises?
Oh, yeah.
I,
Well, good.
I'm being difficult. Don't. Jacob, do you want to start boiling some water? We're gonna boil the water for this. This is Tencha, if you can believe it. We're gonna have delicate Japanese tea with boiling water.
I do have boiling water ready here, and it's boiling, and I'm always ready because we like to use these ceramic kettles, and they're standing on alcohol burners, which keep
Amazing.
the
You're way ahead of me. I have okay, so yeah, at JagaSilk we have a quadruple filter. We have really, it's an old building, so the water is really challenging. It gets really kind of weird, so we have to run the water pretty good to get it kind of going for the day before we use the water. I don't have a charcoal setup like you do, but what I do is I use a temperature variable kettle, and my fourth filter is actually a charcoal filter. And so
Mhm.
I actually put, I can actually reintegrate some mineral content back into the water. So the first three filters kind of remove a lot of the impurities, etc. But it can get too flat where there's nothing left to really bind with the flavor molecules. And so,
Almost like reverse osmosis.
yeah, right. Well, it's not really reverse osmosis. It's kind of like just ever smaller filters. And
Mhm.
it's removing I guess the charcoal's gonna just step in and remove a lot of that bleach because you can get this really gross bleach flavor in Victoria if you're not
Mhm.
careful. And then we do this remineralization at the last step. And so that's the water I'm working with. I actually had a guest on where he took my water and he did an analysis with one of those tags that you do use for an aquarium for fish, and he got a
Mhm.
sense of what the pH and the bicarbonate levels were at, and then he added Epsom salts and distilled water and uh, and sodium bicarbonate, baking powder, baking soda, to
That-
his to match the water sample that I sent him, and then he was able to make tea with very similar water. So I guess we should say to our audience, though, you're going to be tasting a different personality of the tea because you're going to have different water, but you're careful, right? You're trying to make it not. I had horrible water when I was in France and pretty good water when I was in Spain. Um,
Well,
how's your water?
basically, what we're getting here from the taps all around Czech Republic is
Oh,
is absolutely stunning. We are really lucky here. We really have great water all over the country. There are some local disturbances, if that's the word.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but those are really regional and usually related to bedrocks and the terroir. So if it's, I don't know, like crust, limestone, and such, usually you get really heavy water
Yeah,
with really high mineral content.
way too
However,
much.
Prague in general has absolutely amazing water sources.
Maybe
So
that
basically, you
might play
get
a role. Hey, why you're the tea capital outside of Asia
might be,
maybe plays a role.
yeah,
Again, there's just a background thing happening here. This doesn't normally happen, Jacob, but can you maybe explain to the audience a little bit about your tea box and give me 2 minutes? I'm gonna be on mute for just 2 seconds, and then I'll be back.
about the tea box.
Yeah, I want them to know about the Meaty subscription.
I see, I see.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
So I'll
my
be on
pleasure.
mute. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, you go
So,
ahead. You can hear me, but they can't.
so basically, it is a regular subscription like you get, I don't know, even sock subscriptions or coffee subscriptions. And throughout the years, we went through hundreds and hundreds of different teas. We always try to make box, that trio, really versatile. Yet we're thoroughly trying to respect the season. So we won't be sending out, I don't know, like first flush Darjeelings and Senchas and stuff like that in January or in December. But we would always rather send out like shupwares or gongcha or stuff like that, something that will make you warm and that's in the season at the moment. And but otherwise the teas are completely of our choice. Usually those are tea from our regular lineup, from what we import ourselves. We know many farmers personally behind many of those teas, and but some teas we do get just for this particular purpose. Uh, the main motivation is to make the box versatile even by the grades and, let's say, rarity of the teas. Uh, we are we're trying to present like typical, archetypical teas of that category or of certain type, but we're also always on the hunt for oddities, rarities, and weird teas. That's actually my field. I really love weird teas from all around the world, and the weirder, the better. And my colleague, since he's been going to China yearly for the last 14 years, he's really into like traditional, standard, top-notch Chinese etalons of particle teas. So we actually nicely mix up together with my colleague. He's more, he's basically based and grounded in those traditional Chinese tea categories and traditional Chinese tea knowledge and ceremony.
Nice.
And let's say more of a hunter and punk guy in the background. I love teas from all around the world. Uh, I'm always on the hunt. I basically want to put a pin on every single tea producing region in the world. And so far, or based on my knowledge, I'm basically missing just very few pins, final pins on that map.
Hmm. Hi, I'm back. What are your final pins? Where are you missing?
I'm missing North Korea.
Oh.
That,
Okay, yeah, okay.
that almost seemed like it might actually happen because friends of mine, uh, they had a Koreanist friend, and he somehow managed to order the samples.
Amazing.
However, the samples were taking really crooked and weird travel all around the globe
Wow.
until they were confiscated in the States.
Oh no.
So,
Wow.
Americans, sorry brothers, but you screwed up my dream and my
Oh no.
one of my very last
The
pins.
pin is waiting. It wants to be, it
Exactly.
wants to go in the map. You know, I bought one of those maps, and it's rolled up, and it has been. I gotta, but mine is way less exciting. I think I'm excited. I get really like, I think I go on a deep dive, and I just can't stop getting like, where I'm at right now, Jakub, is I'm really interested in microclimates. So I have like an Okumidori that we're gonna have right now, and it's part of our microclimate series. So it's the same cultivar, same farmer, but it's slightly different areas of the tea garden. So there's the
Mhm.
Okuda, the Fukada, and the Shimoyama, and they taste completely different, which is amazing. Obviously they're processed a little. The timing might be a little bit different, all these different things, and also the farmer is going to like expect a little bit more out of this, so he's going to put in a little bit more resources, etc., etc. So it's pretty awesome. But
Loving that.
well,
Totally, yeah, it's so
yeah,
geeky.
it's
And
pretty fun. It's pretty fun. So you're gonna have to like slice the pins like a bamboo whisk, and you'll get them really fine, and then you'll just do little tiny microclimates. It's gonna be amazing.
well, since my map is pretty much completely filled, uh, I guess that happens to all the tea drinkers. That at certain stage you want to explore, you want to drink as much and as many as possible. You want to go
Right.
through all the samples. You want to
Oh
drink
man.
the biggest oddities and
You know when I feel really bad is when harvest season the next year, and I have samples I haven't had yet, even though I've been really aggressive, like trying to drink them all. I hate that moment where I'm like, I'm so sorry. I wanted to try you, but I didn't make the time. And it's like, and what's even worse is when you try it and you're like, that was amazing, and then you're like, send me your newest harvest, and it comes and you're like, oh, that's not very good.
I have an actual story like this. I got some samples from my contacts in Vietnam last May
Okay.
and 220, and there was one sample of shoopware, the only sample I hadn't touched at the moment,
Right.
and I was quite condescending, and I was like, I love Vietnamese teas. You maybe know that I really deeply love Vietnamese teas.
Right.
It's just I've never believed in Vietnamese shoopwares. I had never believed in Vietnamese shoopwares.
Okay.
And so I left that sample untouched. And in December, we were tasting like 10 different shoopwares here with my friend, with my
Right.
colleague.
Okay.
And then we were going through all the samples, and then I went to that secret hidden room over there. And that sample literally struck me in the eyes, and I was like, all right, whatever.
What was that all about? Yeah, fair enough.
We're having those 10 samples anyway, so 11 doesn't.
I had that experience with an oolong from India, and I was like, no way. You know, everything I was just like,
It turned out to be absolutely stellar.
yeah, that's
And
cool.
my colleague is a shoe drinker. I'm a shank drinker.
Okay.
And
Okay.
he was immediately like,
Freaking out.
how much does it cost? How much does it cost? Can you get it? How much can we get?
Zero, because I didn't
They
drink it
still
fast
have it?
enough.
So they do have it, luckily.
Oh
They-
wow. Okay, you're lucky. Okay, that's good. That's good.
They-
And I hope
they
it was
still-
stored well. I wonder if it would taste different depending on how it was stored, because you're gonna store it a little different, right? So that's gonna be interesting.
Totally.
Just that 1 year of difference, you know.
Totally.
Okay, 5 grams is in the pouch there.
Mhm.
Okay. You want to empty the whole thing. Ideally,
Is it the Tencha?
this is the Tencha we're drinking. Yeah. So you
All
want
right.
to clip open that Tencha, and you want to basically put 150 grams of boiling water on the tea. Okay.
I do have a scale here, luckily. So you'd recommend porcelain guy one?
I would recommend. Well, these are these cupping cups. They do this in Japan, which is pretty cool. They hold almost exactly 150. Before we start, it's good for you to get a sieve. What they use in Japan is these kind of crazy things. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? And then it's used for lifting it up, and it lets you get a sense of the aromatics. It's not the best for moving it to another, like it's not really meant for straining, but they do use it that way. It's kind of this odd way of doing it. I'm going to just go grab one more bowl, but like I just put this one in for a photo that I took for social media, but that's when I mill it down. That's what the matcha is going to look like. But before we go there, I figured, we should try the Tencha first, and then we can have the matcha. And it's the same product, right? So it's the Tencha Okumidori Okuda by Fujioka, and then it was milled into an Okumidori matcha. Just one sec. I'm going to go grab one more bowl. And matcha's been really exciting, man. I don't know if you knew this, but for the first 5 years of JagaSilk's history, all we did was sell matcha. We didn't have any other tea. We just kept it super simple. And then
I had a,
speaking,
you wouldn't preheat the vessel, I guess.
you know, it can go both ways. This is such a fine porcelain that I don't know. Lots of people do. Most of the farmers don't.
I never do that with Japanese greens because I feel like even slight preheating of the vessel leads to like loss of aromatics. That especially that super volatile. So I never do that.
They're super delicate. It's easy for that to happen for sure. I do like to do it sometimes just to get a better dry aroma sense so that I can just smell it a little bit better. And if you're going to do this technically like they would at Origin, you would do 2 brews. You would do one that's strictly for aromatics and one that's strictly for drinking. Okay? So we're gonna do 150 grams. Ideally, you start a timer, and at about the 1 minute mark, you're gonna you're going to
And the whole 5 grams.
the whole 5 grams. Yeah,
Crazy.
I know. And you're gonna do 150 grams of boiling water.
11 p.m. 5 grams of Tencha, and then the matcha.
Yeah, you know, we're gonna call this jet lag tea for you. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
Luckily, I don't have problems with sleeping, so
That's good. Well, you're a trooper. I love how, so in Kyoto, it's really different from, say, Fukuoka in that it's very uncommon to finish fire. And so you get more of a grassy or like more of an aromatic tea. And in Fukuoka, they really like it to develop a little bit further. They like to steam it a little longer. They like to finish fire. They bring out more meaty or kind of nutty flavors and develop sugars. So when you get to about a minute, it helps to use a sieve and just like pick up some of the crust and then just get it right in there and smell. Oh yeah. Oh, and looks like we're getting joined by Sister Speak. So give me 1 sec while I let her join the call. So, and there she is. Okay. Sherri
What's
Anne,
happening?
welcome.
Hi.
Hi there.
How's it going?
Hello. It's going good. I don't have a camera. Oh, no, I do.
Now you do. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna put us on tiled. There we go. Okay.
All
I
right.
have all the stuff here.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. All right. That's not.
On one hand, should I sieve all the leaves out of the vessel?
Yeah. I think that you're gonna want to scoop all of the leaves out. So Sherri Anne, Jakub, Sherri Anne.
Hi, Jacob.
Hello there.
This is Jakub is joining us live from Prague right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was there in 2019.
Where ya? Oh
Visited.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Normally we want to be pretty careful with the why is this not working?
Are we doing Tencha right now? I forgot to grab that. I can go grab it real quick.
Hold on. Yeah, we're doing the Tencha and the Maccha.
Okay, I'll be right back.
The Okumidori Okuda. All right. I'm just I'm having so much fun today with my computer, Jakub. It's just pretty awesome. I think this is gonna work.
Seems like this connection of ours is kind of cursed, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way. It's kind of funny. Let's see if we can't take the. I think I pinned hers. Unpin. Okay, there we go. And
All
then
right.
go
Then
to.
Tencha, 150 ml of water.
What did you think of the smell?
Super crystal clear and crisp. I love Okumidori. It's one of my favorite cultivars for matcha.
Yeah, it works,
Because it's all rounder, so I'm really looking forward to have a sip and enjoy.
No, I'm super into it. Yeah, it's when I was asking Fujioka-san why not plant more Okumidori if he likes it, or we got some really nice Samidori in. And for those watching, Samidori, Okumidori, Yabukita are cultivars or varieties of the tea plant, like wine has Pinot Noir, Merlot, etc. These are some Japanese cultivars. So yeah, like I said, why not just do all Okumidori? Or why wouldn't you plant Samidori? And he said, if he'd known at the time, he would have done Samidori. But he's a big fan of Yabukita, and Yabukita is like over 2/3 of production, right? Is Yabukita in the country, and so he really digs it. And So then I asked him, okay, well, if you prefer Yabukita over Okumidori, which is the opposite of most people are going to taste the Okumidori. It's going to be richer, it's going to be smoother, it's going to grade higher. But Yabukita is the cultivar for like traditional gyokuro or like really classic Japanese teas. And he's a classicist, so he says that he just gets more Okumidori. Sorry, he gets more Yabukita than Okumidori. That's why the Okumidori is more expensive than the Yabukita. And it just works out that at the end of the day, he is. It also grades higher, so it's kind of interesting. So you want to sip?
Okay, sorry. Can I catch up real quick with the Tencha? Oh.
Yeah. So we're doing the Tencha by Fujioka. You want to empty it into a small bowl. You want to put boiling water on it for about a minute.
Okay.
And you're going to do all the 5 grams of the Tencha. You're going to put 150 grams of boiling water.
Okay. I've got my scale.
Mm-hmm.
Whee!
And just so everybody watching knows what Tencha is, it's the deveined and destemmed leaf. So when the farmers harvest the tea leaves, they want to take them to either a sencha factory or a tencha factory in Japan. And this is gonna, most sencha factories, there's also places that like specialize in making amazing gyokuro. But when you get the leaf sort of processed, they're completely different from each other. So you have to make that decision really well. Even going in, these are all shade grown if they're done properly. So this has been shade grown, deveined, destemmed, and then they don't mill it right away. So some people think that matcha is going to be processed during harvest all the way to its finished place. But this is kind of a moment in time. And so what's been really cool for JagaSilk is since October, Jakub, you wouldn't have seen this machine, but can you see it behind me? Okay, like it's kind of.
I already noticed.
Yeah, that's our mill, right? And we're actually getting another one pretty soon, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's been amazing to have this and to be able to play with, like, we found, for example, that so normally a traditional mill does 40 grams an hour, which is nothing, right? And you guys can't see me anymore. My computer crashed. I just love how much fun I'm having with technology today. The audience can still see me, and you guys can hear me. But my video is probably crashed. Is that correct? Can you hear me, guys?
We can hear you.
Okay, cool. But you
definitely
can't.
Seems like your video crashed.
But you can't see me. Okay, cool. They can see me though, just so you know, it's different cameras. So anyway, so Tencha is just that moment in time. It protects it from oxidizing, all that fun stuff. But yeah, what we've been learning is, so you have these like traditional mills that 40 grams an hour. These guys are like a kilogram an hour. So a big difference. We didn't just jump on them because we did years of research trying to find a mill that would actually taste good. And one of the things that's really rad is that the plates are shaped like the traditional mill. So they're plates that spin. And they get also down to, we use a granular gauge. If you can see this, we kind of put a droplet on this like stainless steel bar here, and it measures how many microns of tea powder it is. So we can prove that it's less than 10 microns, and so we can prove that spec size, and then we can. I mean, it's not like super accurate. We're still learning how to use it, and it's very analog. But it's a tool. It helps. And we've just learned, also our machine, one of the reasons why it works is not only the plates spinning it to the right texture, but you could get the same size, but if it's going through a burr mill, under a microscope, it's a square. Whereas on this machine and on the traditional machines, the spec size, when you look at it, the shape is a circle. And the way that goes into the pores of your tongue, even at the same size, you're going to actually sense almost subconsciously a little bit of that texture when it's the wrong shape. So it's really helpful to have the right shape. So right shape, right size, and then temperature is huge. One of the reasons why they do 40 grams an hour is because they want to reduce friction. So if it gets too hot, you have this situation where it really just it doesn't what's the word? It just kind of burns the umami, right? and so you don't get as rich of a taste. But yeah, it makes a big difference to mill cold. So they'll do these 40 grams an hour, and they'll sometimes even have it in refrigeration. Like Fujioka, when he mills, it's in a refrigerated system. But here we have this, I don't know if you can see it so well, but you guys can't right now, but the audience probably can, is there's this cooler here. And the cooler helps to bring down the plate temperature because it feeds cold water into the plates. And we actually measure it, and we found that between 20 and 24 degrees centigrade is this ideal plate temperature. When it gets a little bit hotter, even like 26 or 28 degrees, it's a much noticeably reduced umami, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, that's kind of a little bit of stuff that we've been kind of having fun with. What do you think of the flavor of the tencha there, Jakub? And
I really love it.
yeah,
It's tencha, so it's kind of really vegetal on the green side, and does have that vegetal-ish, slightly astringent haptic feeling, but it's super flavorful, super full-bodied. I love the body actually of the tea.
it's interesting.
Okumidori being like super versatile, but also like multifaceted tea. I love Okumidori because of its characteristics, that it's got a little bit of everything.
Right. Yeah.
It's got umami up front, but not overwhelming umami. Sometimes when umami is too overwhelming, it just tastes like chicken broth or something like that.
Yeah,
which
totally. Yeah, which
is not convenient for many. I don't mind, but many don't.
It can be a little bit overwhelming if you're not careful. Hey, I remember visiting a farmer where I made her tea from southern Japan that was like a very like high-ranking tea, and she drank it and she's like, "Oh, tastes like fertilizer."
Oh wow!
And it's she just didn't believe in that kind of flavor dynamic, and she was creating a very antique style. And so unusual for Japan, what she was doing, and to have like a significantly high level of umami, generally is going to get you a higher ranking when you're cupping different styles. I didn't necessarily introduce you guys properly, but again, I talked about you guys to the viewers. But Sherri Anne is the lead singer of Sister Speak, and we are tea sponsors for her. We send her tea for the last decade as she's traveled the world. She's also my sister. She just recorded her third studio album. She's does music for her career. She's amazing. You've got to check out sisterspeakmusic.com. And then she joins us almost every week. She brings a different perspective. Often I'm talking to tea industry folks, and so she can ask some questions to make things make a little bit more sense for the people watching. And then Jakub, Sherri Anne, he is one of the owners of Meetea, Meetea, in Prague, in Czech, and he is still a little bit of a young business, right? What are we at? 4 years? 3 years? 2 years? I don't even know. But it's 4 years. But you've been in tea for like 17 or longer, right? Yeah. So been in the tea industry for a long time, and he's doing a really interesting project. We talked about it earlier in the show, where he's combined a lot of kind of side projects together with his friend, and they've created a tea studio and a tea subscription and a tea catering business, and like all these different side projects they were doing kind of conglomerated into this, and it fused into this one project. So, pretty cool.
Wow, I would love to visit your spot, and I agree with everything. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No, please do. You're always welcome. Anyone from the whole Jaga gang and any friends from Victoria are always welcome.
Nice.
Awesome. I agree with everything you said about this. You nailed it, Jakub, with your description of the tencha.
It's got some nice. I think what I find interesting about it is that I can make it with boiling water in the. Maybe it's the porcelain that I'm making it in, but I feel it kind of interesting how I'm not tasting a like unpleasant tannin, even though I put boiling water on a very delicate tea.
Me neither. There's no tannin at all that I could taste. It's like
there's I think there's a little bit, but it's just not overwhelming, right?
Okay. Now that you mention it, like just after I took that sip, like there's like a delayed tannin effect, like ever so slight.
There you go. Yeah.
Could be psychological.
Could be. Yeah. I'm like, there is tannin. I will it to be so.
And all of a sudden, there's a delayed effect. It hit my tongue like tannin.
That's funny.
I find it to be a really nice backbone for the whole aftertaste. Actually, the tannins. It's really light, yet it's there. And
Yeah.
just like Jared mentioned before, it's important to remind you and the viewers as well that I'm drinking using totally different water. So
Yes.
Yeah.
the outcomes and the results might be slightly different.
Yeah. You're careful, so it's not like it's like chlorine and super heavy water or hard water. You're careful with your water, but it's going to be different. Yeah. And then it's going to bind to the flavor molecules differently. Something we've really found to be fascinating is just making a tea. Like this would be interesting again in porcelain. It's a very neutral environment, but if I did like an unglazed bowl that I was drinking it out of, then the mineral content in the clay is gonna enhance or detract away from certain sort of personalities of the tea and bring out a new personality. So that it's fascinating that way. I really like to drink things with fully glazed or glass at first, just because I feel like it gives me a quote unquote true understanding of it. But the reality is, for teas like, I don't know, like true puers, etc., I'm gonna have them in a coarse clay teapot, and I'm not gonna really drink them the way that I might cup them. It's a weird, I don't know why I do it. It's just I just have this desire to taste it in porcelain, or sorry, in fully glazed or glass.
I do love drinking everything out of glass. Even when I'm traveling, even with the Brita filter, I actually pour the water into glass.
Yeah.
As soon as it comes out of the Brita, and it tastes way better.
Right. Do you remember that episode we did with Daniel over at the Chinese tea shop where he was explaining the different teapots, etc.?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to experience the clay teapots. That's something.
It's super interesting, just how it interacts with the flavor, and I just feel like it's such a similar, it's a similar sort of playground as changing up your water. I feel like there's a similar element to the flavor experience you're gonna have when you mess around with the water as you do when you mess around with the clay. I've put a bowl onto my scale here. In tea ceremony, they often are just going to use a chasha.
Wow! Sorry.
What's up? Oh yeah! Oh, beautiful.
He sings.
Yeah.
And actually, my colleague, he's an ishing lover, and he loves to fiddle with ishings. And every time he gets new ishing into his hand, he's like a child in a toy store.
That's awesome.
I'm more of a porcelain guy, and I'm more of a porcelain guy one guy. With neutral state of things. And I like to fiddle with these as well. However, it's too tricky, just like you said.
Yeah.
And there are vast differences in between different like clays, but places of origin, colors, shapes, and whatnot. And we, like year and a half ago, we had an opportunity to play with ishing pots,
Right.
like thousands and tens of thousands euros each.
Wow. Yeah, that's.
But that was really depressing, though.
Oh no.
They were beautiful, and the tea tasted somehow better, but it's just like, do we really need that?
I know, that was actually kind of the conversation I had with Daniel, and he's a specialist, and he's like, you know what? It's like, I think the way that he brought it to my attention it's more like the Japanese tea bowl. Do I really need it, Jacob? I could have a cereal bowl. I could use I could use a glass, like just if the shape is there, why buy a tea bowl from a master? Right, and it's not all about flavor. The way he was able to, I think what Daniel was able to say is that for him, anyways, it's a culture, right? So I thought that was a fascinating perspective, because I've always put so much investment into how do I get it to taste as amazing as possible. But I think what he opened up my eyes to is just how I really do put a lot of importance on a good bamboo whisk. I do put a lot of importance on a beautiful tea bowl. Why? Is it really going to make a difference? You know, I feel it does. It's very subtle. Why would I be willing to pay $100 for a good whisk or like $1,000 for an amazing bowl? It's hard to say, you know. It's
also art.
It's art, exactly. So there's an
Thanks
element.
for correcting me, because I do have this fetish in chavans, right?
Right.
And it's true. I don't hoard Asian teapots, but I do hoard somehow chavans. But
I'm the same way. That's what I have. Like I have a whole like, yeah.
in the case of chavans, they are usually glazed inside. So
Right.
they don't interact that much. It's more about the shape, about the feeling you're getting while whisking and
But
such.
the shape is important too. Like there's some teapots, and yeah, they'll be unglazed, but they'll have like a shape that actually reminds me a lot of this, and they're made for drinking oolongs. You might even have one back there, but the shape looks like that. And you want to speak? The cameras. You were showing the camera just now. Do you have one like this?
Oh, you mean
It's often meant for oolongs.
these guys? Like pear shapes?
Yeah. I think that's so interesting because these are meant for whiskey in my hand, and it's to get those perfect aromatics. And then that pear-shaped teapot, that's actually meant for a really aromatic oolong. And I think
Like wee oolongs do really work nicely with this shape.
yeah.
However, Taiwanese oolongs, I feel like they're working way better with just bowl shape.
Sure, but like, what are you doing with it? Are you opening up the lid and smelling it at all? Like, or I guess I don't know. Some people they would do that, and you're gonna get an amazing nose that way, you know. But like, how are you what are you gonna do? So I guess how you interact with the leaves and how you brew gonna make a little bit of a difference there. But I think it's interesting that I do hoard beautiful matcha bowls, and yeah, they're glazed, so I can be on my high mountain top and be like, yes, I have it's not. But the reality is too. Once you leave Prague, once you go to a different tea shop, once you go to a different house, the water is going to play a similar role as that variation in teapot. So you kind of are left with no real foundation to stand on because there is no foundation. It's all in our head, right? It's just, we can try, and hopefully we make a good tea and we get used to our tools and we get used to our water. But I don't think we should limit ourselves from playing with clay. Because I think there's a whole world that's easy to just say no, thank you, because I don't want that. I don't want more volatility, you know. Anyway, just throwing that out there. that's my. So I went on a tangent there, but I wanted you guys to drink the matcha too, and Sherri Anne, if you want to step in and ask questions too, like. I'm sorry if I end up talking the whole time. It's terrible.
No, I just I'm curious how. So Jakub, you carry. Do you do matcha in do you have matcha in your store right now in Prague?
Unfortunately not, because I really got into matcha back there in Canada. Thanks to Pedro and thanks to Jared, I was able to go through unlimited supply of total top-notch matchas.
Yeah.
Single cultivars.
Right.
Throughout the years, unfortunately, without this steady supply,
Yeah.
my matcha knowledge has decayed just like my English has.
Oh no.
Your English is great.
And, but after I left Canada, I was actually able to tell apart different cultivars of senchas and gyokuros and matchas as well, based on the experience I was given, or I was lucky to get there from Pedro and from Jared and some other guys in Vancouver as well. And
Cool.
Noriko-san, I have to mention Noriko-san. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
that lady.
Noriko-san's amazing. Yeah.
Unfortunately, stop by at 05 and meet Noriko-san. She's lovely. She's just gorgeous. I
Yeah.
love her.
Yeah, she's amazing. she's got so much knowledge to share, and she does makes an amazing bowl of matcha too. That's for sure. So anybody going to 05, if you get a chance to get Noriko to make you tea, Noriko-san, It's a good day. Pedro does a decent job too, I have to say. But
yeah.
I'll have to get both of you guys on so you can give him a hard time. Okay.
That'd be fun.
So this is what we're drinking for the audience. This is the Okumidori Okuda. So I was explaining earlier that this is different microclimates. So it's the Okuda versus Shimoyama versus Fukada. I might have explained that off camera. I don't know if I can't remember if I explained it at the beginning of the show. But this is part of our microclimate series. This is our top grade selection that we're bringing in from Fujioka. He's a farmer that only sells wholesale to JagaSilk. He also sells in specialty department stores in Japan, and the rest of his production just goes to the co-op, the Nokyo. So we're really blessed to be his only wholesale customer.
Wow, I was enjoying this so much this week that I almost
Did you almost drink it all
drank the
again?
entire thing. Yeah, I almost drank it all again.
Yeah, last week we had her on. She was super clutch, Jacob. I thought you were on last week, remember? And I found out that it was my mistake, but you're scheduled for this week. And I had to do some shuffling, but she was such a pro. She's like, yeah, we got it. But it was funny because, okay, we're going to do the other tea I gave you like a month ago. And she's like, yeah, I totally drank that.
I actually drank it probably like 2 days before the show because I was like, I'll be home.
Yeah,
He gave me a bunch of tea.
I can get more if I need it. Yeah, totally.
And then,
Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I was wondering, are we doing just one bowl or two bowls?
We're gonna make one matcha. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I have exactly enough for 1.5.
Okay, good. So what I like to do for my matcha is I do, in this case, like to preheat the bowl. I go in and out of preheating and not, generally depending on the season. When it's really cold, I often preheat more often than if it's not. If it's really hot out, like summertime, the bowl is already kind of warm. I'm okay with that. If you're in air conditioning and your place is all cold in the summer anyway, then I bet you. Some people will clean out their bowl, like they'll wipe it down after they add the hot water, just so that they're not going to get the matcha wet. I don't really do that. It's probably good barista ethic to do it. This is my beautiful bowl from Quebec. I think it's pretty sweet. And aromatic on that, though, I get way more kind of nuttiness, like there's like a cooked sugar smell. You get a little bit more of that roasty notes. You get like a cooked green chocolate.
Could you please, Jared, instruct me a little? So 2 grams.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 2 grams. 2 grams through the sieve into your bowl. Once you pushed it through the sieve, then you want to add. You want to get 60 degrees centigrade water. So there's a way to do this. You can get a temperature variable kettle as one way, but if you're at home or if you're Sherri Anne, you're gonna use the vessel transfer method.
Yeah, I have some vessels here.
Boiling water is 100 degrees. Your goal is to get to 60. Each time you put your hot water into a room temperature vessel, it's gonna drop 10 degrees centigrade. So if you can get yourself, your bowl plus 3 vessels, you're gonna be in a good place. So you put.
If it's already at 90 degrees because it's been sitting for 15 minutes.
Yeah, then you just need the 2, right? So you're gonna in that situation, but it really does help, and it does make a difference. You'd be surprised even a few degrees centigrade is going to change. So it does help to confirm your work with a thermometer if you have one, but it's not a requirement. If you just want to make your tea, just put it into the bowl first, 90, before you put in the matcha is one way you can do it. But regardless, if you can just get it even to 70, even if you just say you don't use the bowl at all, boiling water, 3 transfers, and you're sitting there, you're in a good place. But if you're at home, again, if you're watching, method is 90 grams of water in your bowl that preheats it. Pour that into a measuring cup. That's a second vessel. Pour that into a mug cup or just something random out of your cupboard. You're at 70 degrees. Then you start weighing out your tea, and you go to work with it, and you're in a good place for temperature. Okay. Some people, if they want to be really, 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 really easy, they'll mix in a little bit of cold water into the matcha first, like about an ounce, like 30 mils, and then they'll add hot water, or they'll do 2 ounces or 60 mils. So it's to each their own. Personally, I found that I've come to depend on a temperature variable kettle. I think it makes a big difference. I find that 60 degrees is a very different flavor from 65 degrees. I find that I prefer 60 for selections that are steamed lighter. So if it's from Kyoto, I'm almost always going to go to 60 first so that I don't bring out as much tannin. If I'm drinking a matcha from down south, I'm going to bring up the temperature because they produce their matcha differently. They steam it longer, it's less fragile, and you can bring out more aromatics by cooking it a little hotter. So anyway, that's the brink engine.
I'm gonna disappear just for a minute. I've been drinking all day long, so there might be some short interruptions.
Okay, fair.
We'll miss you.
So
separation anxiety is kicking in.
Yeah, exactly. We'll I'll wait.
I could talk.
No, I just gonna wait for him to come back before I add my water here. Are you whisking? You're whisking.
Yeah.
You're whisking.
Yeah,
that's
is
good.
that okay?
You want to
Am
tell?
I jumping?
No, it's all good. Tell the audience about your method.
Okay, so I did that. I did I went from this because I should have boiled it, but I'm already out here and I didn't want to like pause for too long.
Sure.
So I've been chilling for a while, and then I transferred it into this one, and then into this one. I've got this little baby travel scale that is actually Mom's. I think I do need to give it back to her at some point. It's a pretty awesome scale, and I just put it on here.
Sweet.
And then I put the sieve on top, tarred the scale, added the matcha.
Amazing.
Added the water, and then whisked away. And it's can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so good today.
Yeah.
And I will say this. Yeah, look very green. This bowl, the best feature of this bowl is that it's from a garage sale, so we don't know what the glaze is.
Right. That makes sense.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That's like,
it scares me slightly.
That's like toxins in a bowl. It's good times. It just adds.
But it did say on the box, made in Japan.
That's encouraging. You know,
it's encouraging.
It
so I'm hoping it's okay. I've never felt sick from it.
I don't think. That's just it. If there was a little bit of heavy metals in your bowl, you'd only notice it after many, many years of use. No, just joking.
Oh, God. I mean,
I'm horrible. No. It's just, but there was a story about some people brewing kombucha in really old school lead fermenters, and they didn't realize that they were lead, and they gave themselves lead poisoning because they were all like into using these old fermenters, but didn't realize that could also mean problems with toxins that are not in new fermenters. So,
can I test the bowl somehow in Sydney?
Yeah, I think you totally could. You could, but you're probably more likely going to be fine with that one than say a random plate in your cupboard. But wash it well and know that we're surrounded by interesting extra bits in our environment and everywhere we go. And I think it's impossible to completely cut it out, but yeah, we can be careful. It's nice to source from good food grade sources wherever we can. Jakub's back. Jakub, I'm gonna add 90 grams of water to my matcha now that you're here. Okay.
Sorry, I jumped ahead. I'm already drinking it.
Yeah, it's all good.
This one's so good and it's sweet. It's delicious.
With the Tencha, we were doing little tiny sips and really trying to understand it on a more like aromatic and careful level there.
This one you want to just gulp, right?
Yeah, this one we do. That's exactly what we want to do. So just like a craft beer, you gulp, and a craft wine, you sip. With a craft matcha.
Should we do matcha keg stands?
Oh, you should. You should totally. All right. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna whisk away. Where are you at in your
90 grams of water.
Okay. So I'm gonna hold.
I'll be honest with you. This is completely different from how I usually like my matcha.
Fair. Yeah. This is usucha. So there's two different technically. This is based off of sort of an ura senke style. Normally you would use a little bit less matcha, 1.5, and a little bit less water. But I like to agitate for 15 seconds total. I do about 3 seconds of gathering everything, 5 seconds of adding air to get it nice and creamy, and about 7 seconds of developing the froth. And at the end of the day, it's nice if you can get like a centimeter froth that you can push aside and get something called repair. And it's going to be a good place. There's another style called koicha, where you would put the same amount of matcha, but you'd put only 15 grams of water, and it's the texture thick paint, and you want to enjoy it in small, tiny sips. So this style you would drink in big gulps. So you want to fill your mouth with that creamy froth, and it helps to kind of like hold your breath for a moment and blow air out your nose. Hold your breath. And it's just going to cycle all those aromatics into your retro olfactory senses. You get a really nice concentration of flavor aromatics. And the texture, yeah, I'm pretty stoked. So this is milled here, Jakub. I hope it's not terrible.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Cool.
It's actually, well, just like I said, I usually do my matcha differently, and also we all have, like, all the people involved in some tea business or tea projects, we all developed our own personal tasting standards usually.
Totally. Do you normally make it stronger or weaker, or?
I would definitely make it stronger. I'm more of a koicha guy.
Okay.
And I have to confess with something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe I've told you back then, maybe we even tried that way.
Mm-hmm.
But many years ago, a friend of ours presented me his weird ultra koicha style.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the result is just some. It's not even koicha. It's not even liquid anymore.
Oh, wow.
It's
Okay.
pretty much solid state thing, and of course, it's quite requiring or quite expensive, and you need a lot of powder, which in case of really high-end matcha costs a lot of money.
Right.
Super interesting. And last year we also do tea school in summer.
Okay.
And last year at the tea school in the countryside, my topic one day was matcha.
Mm.
So I presented usucha, koicha. We baked something out of gastro grade matcha, and then I presented, or I just mentioned that there's this possibility to prepare something really weird and unorthodox.
Mm.
This, how I call it, and the students were so excited that the following day we went outside to the countryside and drinking tea outside, and they were asking me whether we can try this.
Right.
So I basically made matcha out of 20 grams or 30 grams of super high grade matcha.
Oh my God.
And with like 90 mils or maybe 150 mils of water. And it's awesome. You just need to get prepared for the first initial hit.
Wow.
And it's crazy. It's like exploding. Your mouth literally explodes.
Wow. Wow.
It's so
Wow.
intense. But you know what?
How many grams? 20? Did you say 20? What?
I don't remember whether it was a 30-gram tin or 20-gram tin.
The whole tin.
You just used the whole tin and made a koicha with the whole tin? That's hilarious.
That's like yerba mate style.
I bet you would be amazing.
When you drink it,
Yeah.
you literally need to like hold your chalan like this for a minute, and you're just waiting for that.
Yeah. You know, like
clear
true koicha.
substance
If
to
you
reach your tongue.
if you put your water to boiling again, and if you I'm gonna have you drink this. I've had too much tea today, but Jakub, you should try this. It's just like do the same 2 grams, but just add 15 grams of water, and then you just gently work it in. And then you're gonna get one of our regular customers is like, you know what? I'm gonna do it with you. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Sherri Anne, you have half a gram left.
I just have to make sure I have like.
I'm totally to that, but I'm down. I need to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, when
I might have to.
when else?
I
are we
might
gonna, you know.
start like flying into Pluto.
Yeah. You could also just choose to know your limit and play within it. That's cool too.
I might turn Pluto into a planet again if I.
Right. You
Have
So
too much.
2 grams again?
We're gonna do 2 grams again, but we're gonna bring that water up to boiling.
I do have boiling water here. That's all right.
Is it okay if I I don't think I could handle it. Is it okay if I observe this part?
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting. Yeah.
I see. Know your limits and stay within it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I don't even know if I could finish this matcha, which I'm incredibly in love with. But
I know.
it's very sweet, by the way. This one in particular.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's so beautiful.
I'm super into it. You know, like I have other matchas that are more expensive. Like this one is, if you buy it on our webpage, it's $49 for 20 grams in a tin. I have another one that's more like $55, so a little bit more expensive. It's a higher grade technically, but it's a blend of Samidori, Okumidori, Yabukita, Goko, and Tsuyu Hikari. Whereas this one is a single cultivar Okumidori. And I really enjoy that, and I think it's a really interesting movement to have. But it's been very challenging to get farmers to agree to send me stuff that isn't going into a blend. It's because these Tencha factories, you know, they have minimums for how much they need to properly produce a finished product. So it's hard if I can't like commit to say like a big minimum order quantity to get these single cultivars, especially they're gonna practice toasting and finish firing or just finishing it based off of a blend that they've worked with for a long time. And yeah, it can be a little bit challenging for them to do it this way. Okay, so I'm at boiling water. I'm going to put in 15 grams of tea, or of water, sorry, over the tea. So, you ready for it? 15 grams.
15 it is. But right away, right from the beginning, I can tell you that this is still quite thin.
Thin for you. That's so funny. Okay, and then what I want you to do is just gently work it in. Just gently work it in. Break everything up. Just gently work it in. And then if you just gently work it in, then it gets really, starts to take on the texture of kind of a thick paint. And you can actually, if Jakub, you might like it with 10 grams of water instead of 15. And then it would be like a lot more like maybe what you were having in your friend's style.
Well, this is proper koicha.
Yeah, this is kind of like a. Now, when you do drink this, you're supposed to take tiny sips. If it weren't coronavirus, you'd be sharing it with a group, and you'd all take little sips. You can get to a place though where you're done, and you can actually turn it into usucha by adding water and whisking again. And it doesn't get over astringent. Tiny, tiny sips. And that might be more what you're looking for in a matcha, is this kind of stuff.
He's are you entering the rocket ship?
I'm already there.
Yeah.
I've been drinking tea all day long, so.
Yeah, we are actually joking about that on the call before. It's funny you bring that up. I said he'll be joining Jeff Bezos. It'll be he's been drinking so much tea.
That's hilarious. They have similar metaphors, I guess. Must have grown up in the same house.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm into it. So.
However, if I may add something to that ultra koicha, there's one really interesting phenomenon happening with this ultra koicha.
Okay.
The thinner the matcha is, the more shaky and twitchy I get.
Okay.
And the thicker it is, the calmer the effect is. And with this ultra thick koicha, usually the resulting feeling is not that like crazy green narco vibration, but you're totally zened out, you're totally like calm but totally awake. And
awesome.
actually your little Jared
okay.
got an interesting theory that supports this observation of mine.
Okay.
And if I do remember correctly, he was saying something like our organisms, our bodies do have certain limit when it takes or rate, certain rate of intaking and processing different compounds in tea.
Yeah.
And it seems that the threshold for caffeine is actually quite low compared to L-theanine.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It's super thick and crazy matcha.
Yeah.
Basically, L-theanine completely takes over and negates the effects of theine.
That is really interesting.
So you actually don't end up being like looking like a junkie, but you actually end up like flying out there.
Interesting, because it's the same.
With your body effect being completely relaxed and completely awake.
I wonder if that would work for what we're doing here, because it's the same dose. So it probably makes more sense with what you're doing, where you have like the high dose.
Exactly.
But I wonder, like I feel pretty good. I was expecting to feel a little bit more affected from drinking 4 grams in a row, but I feel pretty awesome. So
I have noticed that as well. Like I can't drink coffee at all, but if I have, well, I've said this before, if I have matcha with oat milk or something, or like in a smoothie with oat milk or some type of rich cashews or something, then I'll sometimes just put way too much in by accident, and I'm not getting the shaky feeling at all.
It might be the L-theanine.
As long as I have something with it that's like oat milk or some type of like cashew butter or something, then I definitely don't feel that. Like I haven't felt that in ages.
And I think there's something to be said about having fat or sugar with matcha, and I think in tea ceremony that's why you often will precede the drink with a little bit of food. But I think what and there might be a connection there too. But what a fascinating piece of information though to think about is that the threshold for the stimulant, the caffeine, would be different than the tranquilizer or the sedative, the L-theanine, and that L-theanine might interact with your body a lot differently. Yeah.
Well, actually, last week or 2 weeks ago, I had a friend here and a customer, like one of my favorite customers here, and I was talking about this ultra koicha, and they were like, we would love to try it. And I had last 10-15 grams of milled gyokuro here. So I was like, all right, let's do it.
Nice. Okay.
We were literally standing outside, like with our eyes completely wide open, and we were so like
tea stoned
and peaceful and solid.
That's awesome. That's great, huh? You know, I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'll have to try one of those bowls one of these days. One of my customers was telling me once that they did do a 20 grams of matcha a day. Now, for our viewers watching, 2 grams is what we often recommend. 20 grams is kind of like over the top. And so what Jakub's saying, I don't think is necessarily for everyone. It's an interesting experiment or adventure. But just tread carefully if you do decide to do it. But yeah, this person would do a big, massive 1 liter latte. Just drink the whole thing out of a massive bowl for breakfast. And I thought to this person who would buy like a kilo from me a month, I'm like, I feel like I'm an enabler. And they told me, you know what they told me, Jakub? They said, at least it's not heroin. I'm like, okay, all right, it's true. I don't know. I feel like I'm still damaging you, though. So, I think we should all be careful and not go past
exactly.
Because you can overdo anything, right? Everything in moderation. You can die from eating too many apples, drinking too much water. Yeah.
That's definitely something I try to highlight all the time. I love matcha. I occasionally drink matcha this crazy way. But I'm trying to tell to every single customer that matcha is a super strong drug. And don't get hooked on that bullshit that all the modern and hipster vendors have been telling you, like have a matcha shake in the morning, matcha shake for work, matcha spaghetti for lunch, and then matcha latte and matcha muffin at night. That's bullshit. That's dangerous, that's crazy, and that should be punishable by law. I mean, recommending something like that.
Yeah, is this up for Parliament in Czech?
And totally unfair and unprofessional. Even though I'd love to sell matcha like in huge quantities. If anyone comes and tells me like I'm drinking 20 grams of this every day, I would just slap his finger.
And you would say no. 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 I only have one person who's done this to me, but yeah, it comes up every once in a while where I feel like maybe
matcha is a serious drug, kids.
Yeah, it's funny. so is tea, so is water, so is like we got a lot of.
Tea, okay, water necessary.
I like to tell everybody, Jacob, everything has a neutral, medicinal, and toxic level, and everybody's body's different. Pay attention to your body. Having different things like Sherri Anne does with her cashew milk, etc. With it is the fats are going to help. Some of those extras are going to help your body digest it differently, so that you interact with it differently. But again, everybody's body's different sensitivities to different parts. It's hard to say there's a one size fits all solution. I think it's just remaining sensitive to your body. I love 2 to 4 grams a day. That's where I'm at with dosing. And I with teas, I can generally drink a lot of loose tea throughout the day. But 3, 4 different loose tea pots, I'm in a good place. I go more than that, I'm still okay. But I find with coffee, which I also enjoy, I can handle about 40 grams worth. So 2 espresso shots and I'm okay. But I go further than that and I get really affected. So everybody's body's a little different.
That's totally true. And I noticed that actually your somatotypes, I mean, like big guys, tall, massive, with muscles and such.
Raw, strong like bees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Hulk types can usually handle their Japanese greens way better.
Interesting.
Than this somatotype. This somatotype gets literally destroyed by Japanese greens.
That's funny.
So, however,
yeah.
Even with that being said, I still do feel that that the border, I mean, between medicine and serious drug and toxic substance. In case of matcha, it's really thin and almost invisible.
I guess I'd like to believe that it's less harmful than heroin, and that it's a good medicine for your body, and
totally.
and that you can
maybe
enjoy
you
it
remember, but
daily. I know there was a lady in Greece though who replaced all water with green tea, and she almost died. So you can dehydrate yourself pretty bad. You do need water. It's important. So if you have some water, you have some matcha, you're going to be in a good place. Again, if you have way too much sugar or way too much salt, it can also be very, very dangerous. So, but anyway.
I have a comment on this actually.
Sure, go ahead.
For me, I have a very low threshold to pretty much all alkaloids.
Right.
And caffeine being an alkaloid, coffee I have extremely low threshold to coffee, to the point where I don't drink it at all, maybe 5 times a year. Alcohol, same thing. Mm-hmm. So for me, I definitely like to just take days where I have no strong alkaloids coming into my system, not a lot of sugar, it just feels good for my body to just have I'll have matcha, and then some days I'll just switch over to herbal teas that don't really have a strong alkaloid in them.
Right.
And I find that it's such a freeing feeling to wake up and not need anything. Yeah. And I just want hydration. I want some rooibos, or and then another day it'd be like, oh, it'd be nice to have some matcha. Like, okay, cool. Nice to have some tea, or I can't have coffee. I don't handle any substances. As a musician, it's an interesting place to be, because I like to have a clear mind, and anything that puts me into a shaky state, or it's not fun. I don't want to miss out on my life. So totally. Even things like casual drinks that most of society enjoys, I like to just take in real moderation, because it affects my clarity. So I think that there's certain things that can really just throw you. And totally. If you feel that, then some people find it fun, but I don't find it fun. So
yeah. But you do okay with matcha?
Oh yeah, but I have a very small amount. I have a half dose in the morning, or and I'll always have it like a latte, because I sometimes have it like a small cup, not as a latte. And I do fine with matcha. I don't do good with coffee. I do fine with yerba mate, but only in small amounts.
Right. Totally makes sense, because there's different compounds that are going to release different things. It's interesting too. Jacob, is I have bumped into people who who just can't drink Japanese green tea at all. And one of the big fixes that we do, and I'm sure you already do this, but is that temperature control. And you know, for those watching, if you put, you know, we put boiling water on our Tencha today, but that is not normal. If you do a Sencha, if you do a Maccha, if it's old, you're gonna get affected really gross. It's gonna make you feel really unpleasant. And I also find that if it's burnt or over extracted, there seems to be like, there's stuff in there that you can really pull out that can make you just feel really kind of gross. And I think it's tannins and astringents that can come out. So if you're careful though, it can be buttery, it can be creamy, it can be nutty, it can be so amazing. And if you kind of forget about it and you're brewing for too long, or you put too hot of water, or it's old, you're gonna find that it's one of those tea options out there that's really easy to make really unpleasant. But when you do find a standard or a method that works for you, it can be just amazing, phenomenal. It's really hard to not want to go to it like very regularly, just for the and when you do find a place that makes you feel like you found a really good ratio for your body and for your life, it's pretty rad. Yeah, and very medicinal. Does some pretty cool stuff. So
yeah, there's a lot of studies on
yeah. Jakub, we're way past the hour that I asked of your time today. We blew past it a long time ago. We did have a bunch of interruptions and stuff, but we are nearing the end of the show. I was wondering if you wanted to say anything to this topic, if you had any final words that you wanted to say to the audience, if there's any sort of goodbye stuff that you want to throw in there before we say goodbye.
Well, I always have so much to talk about when it comes to tea, way more than I should. Well,
I love your opinions. They're awesome.
Thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to see you again sooner than in 4 years. And
we're going to do part 2, right?
Hey guys, if you want to buy, I mean the viewers,
yeah.
If you want to buy matcha, buy it from JagaSilk, or if you would find Jared or from O5, the best sources for matcha and artisan kombuchas out there, I think maybe even in the Western world.
Oh, well, thank you for the vote of confidence. It's pretty awesome.
Thanks for having me here. Thanks for your time. And
likewise. I feel like we could talk for another 10 hours very easily.
I'm totally teed out, so
you could totally go there. We'll have to do another podcast one of these days, or another JagaVision where there is no limit. We'll just go. We'll do like, you know, we did like the 24-hour live stream for the tea festival. We'll just do one episode where it's just gonna be meet.cz. Anyway, so you can find Jakub's work online at meetea.cz, meet.cz in Prague. We're definitely gonna go visit him next time we go. It'll be the first time that we go to Czech. Really looking forward to that day. Hopefully we can make part 2 happen. Sherri Anne, Sister Speak, did you want to add anything here? Did you have some final words you want to say to Jakub, or about the tea, or just in at the end here of episode 60?
This was a blast. Nice to meet you, Jakub. I can't wait to come see Meaty. I just pulled it up in a browser, so
Nice.
check that out.
Well, it's Meaty, and it's kind of unfortunate name at these times of Me Too. As well.
Oh no. Right. That can be.
But yeah, well. Anyways, it was really nice nice meeting you, and my pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. And Sherri Anne, Sister Speak, you can find her sisterspeakmusic.com. Join her patreon.com/sisterspeak and see her live performances every Thursday. She drinks some tea and plays some beautiful tunes. Third studio album coming out soon. Live album just released. Very actively doing some awesome stuff. So yeah, I encourage everybody to go check her out. Sherri Anne, I think I twisted Jakub's arm to do a part 2 where we're going to drink his tea subscription, and he's going to explain a little bit about it, and it's going to happen probably end of July, sometime in August. We'll see what happens. Cool. All right.
I'd be in Vermont.
Yeah, might be. There you go. Well, thank you to you both. Sorry, what was that, Jakub?
I'll send you 2 of those so you can both share them.
That would be amazing. All All right. Well, thank you both for coming on to the show. Really appreciate you making the time today. It was a long one, but it was a really fun one. I feel like when I glanced at the time, I was like, wow, I can't believe that we're almost, it's pretty funny. I really enjoyed it though. Yeah, really good times, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tea. This is one of my favorites. I was really excited to share it with you and to just get that perspective of drinking Tencha, drinking the matcha. Really had a fun time hearing your guys' thoughts on it as well. And I encourage everybody watching to check out both of your projects. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You guys take care.
Have a good one.
Bye.
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 All right. So that was Jakub, CF of Métier, and we had Sherri Anne from Sister Speak joining us. Next week we're gonna have Michael Isted of the Herbal. You want to check that out on July 1st. It'll be at 1 p.m. We broadcast to Twitch. We broadcast to YouTube. All archived episodes are saved on YouTube, so you can go to youtube.com/JagaSilk, and you can watch all 60 episodes and more coming. And you can also subscribe and sign up for notifications, and you'll know when we go live. Really appreciate you tuning in. I'm Jared Nyberg. I'm co-owner of JagaSilk. Go check out our stuff, jagasilk.com. You can grab some teas that will be next week. We'll be drinking Okumidori blend, and there's still some left on the store online. So if you want to drink along with us, then grab some Okumidori blend from Mr. Takaki. It's a Fukuoka origin, amazing tea. So hopefully, or an amazing matcha, and hopefully we'll see you then. Tomorrow, if you're in town, join us here in Victoria. We have some live music. Sister Speak will be performing from behind plexiglass. Everything will be COVID careful. We also have Matt Stern joining us with a violinist, and they'll be doing a set here out in the courtyard. We do desserts and tea every Friday afternoon with music, and the music is live on the final Fridays of each month. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. Take care. Goodbye.